Welcome one and all to tonight's final council meeting for this council. Welcome to the prospective new councillor in the audience here. Good morning. I'll ask Councillor Linda to lead us in prayer. Councillor Jill to lead us in prayer, please.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your blessings. We ask for your strength and guidance throughout this meeting and thereafter as we look to serve the residents of the Shire. We ask for clear thinking, sincere hearts as we approach the business matters we will be discussing shortly. We ask for your blessings upon this meeting, each participant and the work and the people they represent. And to the ones that are retiring, wish them well, and all the best to everyone else around the table. Quite different next time there's a council meeting. Take care of everyone in their future journey. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor. Acknowledgement to country. Acknowledge country, respect to the elders past and present. Apologies. Would Councillor Parker would be an apology. Moved by Councillor Wilton, seconded by Councillor Linda. All in favour? Those against? They're carried. Confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll move those minutes, Fred.
Councillor.
I have a
Councillor
second.
Hill. Question.
I have a alteration to be made on page 48 of 52, item number 1. Councillors for and councillors against. There were 3 councillors who were against that motion and it was not recorded as such, and I want it altered, please. Councillor Meyer, Councillor O'Neill and myself.
According to the recording that we took, you did vote for it.
Well, we did not, and it was not recognised.
Have a comment about the recording that was.
So, through you, Mr. Mayor, we have checked the recording and we did confirm, so this is the items that came out after confidential. We confirmed that they were moved as a bulk, so I clarified that, which was on the recording, and the recording we have shows all councillors voting for them.
That's not that was when we came out of closed council. This was in closed council. So, and there were 3 of us who did not vote for that, and I want that altered.
So I understood that the closed council minutes were correct, but if they don't reflect the councillors that voted against them, then we can note that and that'll be altered.
That is correct. What Councillor Wilton said. In closed council, they voted against 3 councillors.
Well, that's where I'm reading here, and that's what it should read there.
We'll check.
I made those notes.
Yep. Right. So
right. With that correction, any further comments? I'll put the resolution. All in favour? Those against? Carried. The action reports from the minutes. If there's any questions or comments, please note the page and the number. If not, we'll move on to any disclosure of interests. Reports from officers, part A. Financial matters.
I haven't had enough time to read them, Mr. Chair. In detail.
There's a fair amount of writing there that explaining where we are, and there's a recommendation on page 11, and it's got to be signed off by the auditors.
I'll move the recommendation.
Been moved by
So
councillor,
seconded.
seconded by councillor Forrest. Questions? If not, I'll put the resolution. Those in favour? You in favour, councillor Meyer? All in favour? Righto. We move on to all the B items. Any questions on any of the B items?
Yes, the engineering, page 20. I see that the budget implication says that it won't have a implication because we have the reserve fund. But how much money is in the reserve fund?
I can answer that through you, Mr Mayor. The reserve, the provision for remediation on Punks Pit is $2,058,000.
So, but we don't have any idea of how much it's actually going to cost.
Through you, Mr Mayor, not at this stage.
So hopefully, hopefully it'll be under that. In reserve.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said hopefully the cost of it will be under what our reserve is.
Hope so. A long way after that. Further questions?
Sorry, then the other thing I was going to ask, because of all the truck movements, do we have allocated an amount that's going to cover the cost of remediating the road?
Through you, Mr Mayor, no, that'll be all inclusive once we've made a determination where the waste is going.
Take it, there'll be a full report to the new council.
Mr Mayor, I would hope a lot of this would be done prior to the council, but obviously a summary report will be provided to the council.
Thank you. Further questions or comments on the B item?
Mr Chair, I'm sort of just wondering about this variation of the clean-up notice. Is this, we in that now?
Yes.
Well, I'm particularly worried about this. This is terrible. And I've got some emotion here that I want to be put, if you could pass that around, please. Can I?
Perhaps we shouldn't,
Better move it first, so
we haven't actually moved anything at this stage. We just started with the B items, and we asked for questions, but perhaps if we're considering an amendment, it might be good to move the item.
Well, if somebody cares to move the
I'll move it. I'll second it.
moved and seconded. And now we can have the amendment.
No, where was up to?
Move your amendment, councillor Wilton.
Yes, please.
Everybody's got a copy of it.
Yes, she has, yeah.
I think councillor Wilton, I think part 3 is impossible, but the other two parts are spot on.
Do we have a second?
Second to councillor Wilton's
Do we have a second?
Amendment?
seconder. Councillor O'Neill.
Now, the issue is that because we're in caretaker, we can't approve the expenditure of any money above $150,000. And unless we get ministerial approval, and that's where I think we've got to go. And maybe net 3 needs to be a little bit varied to that, because I wrote that a bit earlier. But I think we need to get ministerial or seek ministerial approval because we're going to be in conflict. We're going to be, if we go ahead and do it, we'll be breaching the Local Government Act because of caretaker. And if we don't do it, we're going to be breaching the EP&A Act. And I think we need to, part 3 probably needs, that council needs to urgently seek ministerial approval for the expenditure of these funds.
I just asked a question there. In 2022, I believe it was, we passed a motion on the rehabilitation of the Funks Road pit. Is that correct?
Yes, we did.
But there is no money in the budget. There is money in reserve.
Coming out of reserve.
But we haven't moved it out of reserve. It's still in reserve. We haven't got it in our budget. And we can't approve the expenditure of anything over 150 grand. Unless we get ministerial approval. And that's what I think we've got to do now, urgently.
I beg to differ with you, Councillor Wilton. I think this is an ongoing project that's been going on for a long time, but 2 months ago, put it bluntly, the dirt hit the fan, and it's been noted then that the council had to do the job. So it's an ongoing process.
But we're in caretaker, Mr. Mayor, and we are not supposed to be approving expenditures above 150 or letting new contracts.
Like Mr. Mayor, this one is actually different because it is actually we're legally obliged to comply with the clean-up notice. And we have at the moment a deadline of the 11th of October, after which time we may well be subject to fines if we haven't been able to get an extension of time with the EPA. So whilst that was quite correct, this is actually different because we're legally required to comply. One thing that I was suggested at the ARIC, if I may, is that we could put an item in there that delegated authority to myself up to 250,000, which is my delegations.
No way. No, we have to seek approval from the minister immediately to do this. We can't just move money around willy-nilly. We can't just approve money with open-ended expenditure of dollars. That's how it is. That's what caretaker is about.
In an ongoing decision that Funks pit has to be cleaned up, it's been going on for years. This is just part of the process. And I see nothing wrong with using the reserve that we've got to pay the bills to get the job done.
But the reserve is in reserve. It's not in the budget, and it should have been put into the budget.
Well, this is just
when we prepared the budget. That's what should have happened, but it didn't.
You call on reserves, Councillor Wilton, when you have to. If you've got a private bank account and you reserve fund and your cheque account goes belly up, you move the funds across. It's just a standard process.
Well, it's not standard in local government, Mr. Mayor. I beg to differ.
You and I can argue the point all night.
Yeah, we can, and it's not standard, and I don't want to be part of having been a crook in the last day of my council life. Thank you.
I'm not worried about being a crook, Councillor Wilton, I can assure you.
That remains to be seen.
You want to come here and play games?
I'm not playing a game. I'm just saying what is happening and what should happen. And we don't want to be in breach of either of these things. But we need to have this sorted out legally and properly. And I'm suggesting that it can be done reasonably properly if we seek approval from the minister immediately. And that's to be part of that amendment.
Well, can we reword the third part of the amendment?
Well, we could make it number 4, that approval be sought from the minister for the expenditure.
Got to clean up number 3, Councillor Wilton.
No, we don't. That's stating the fact.
Quite dysfunctional, number 3.
No, it's not.
We've got a motion. It's a recommendation in front of us and we've got an amendment. Questions? Opinions?
I'd be more concerned about what may happen if we're in breach of that notice and we do not comply to that notice by the given date. That could be expensive, Councillor Wilton.
Part of reason why we go down the track of seeking ministerial approval to deal with the first bit so that we can then deal with the next bit.
Let's clarify the wording now that we have for the amendment. So we have in front of me here, so you've got the 3 items there and then you wanted to add a 4th, councillor. So what is the wording?
That urgent approval be sought from the minister for the expenditure of the funds needed. No, expenditure. We're not moving them. They're not in the budget. That's the problem. They're over there somewhere. Seek approval from the minister.
Mr Mayor, the status quo in terms of the rules and regulations that I did read through today, we have to get the approval of the minister to do it. It's only a matter of sending an urgent email tomorrow to the minister's department and getting a reply.
Do you really think they'll reply in time that we can clean up?
Well, they're going to have to because you're making a request of
They're
it.
not going to have to. They'll be like every other job that you wait weeks and weeks and weeks.
I don't think that's the case. If you mark an urgent, make the right representations.
That's right.
Those part 4 or not?
Yes,
Yes.
we have. That urgent approval be sought from the minister. Perhaps we should clarify that that's the Minister for Local Government.
Yes.
So under after Minister, the Minister for Local Government.
Righto, we've got a amendment and we've got a motion.
Sorry, point 3. It says, oh no, it's all right, I just read it wrong. Yeah, because it's like we adopted it in the 24-25 operational budget plan, but it says no expenditure.
Well,
We mentioned it earlier, didn't we, about the reserve last meeting?
I know from other times when I've spoken to other councillors and that about seeking ministerial approval of different councils, and it's taken up between 12 and 18 months to get approval. So whether you mark it urgent or not, I don't know if you can find that it's going to be any value. And I personally think we're probably better off just forging ahead and asking forgiveness later if there's something that hasn't met the timelines.
So what is the ramification of this?
Will be in breach of the Local Government Act.
Either be breach of local government or the EPA. It's a lesser of the
That's got a
two.
big stick. And probably $2 million. Well, they'd make an example of the council, put it that way. Local government, they'd be straight into us.
For the sake of peace at the last meeting, it's my recommendation, councillors, that you go with the amendment. I can face anybody around the room and say, I think it's a lot of nonsense, but we'll try our best tomorrow to talk to the minister.
What's our contingency if the minister won't come to the party? We've got a contingency plan. Otherwise, we're going to have to come back to another meeting.
We'll have to come up with one, Councillor Hicks.
The challenge is that we've already been indicated by the EPA that if we don't show progress on this particular project, there will be no extensions of time. And I would have real concerns that they would simply be a very hard line on the deadline.
What about in that instance then that we actually spend the 150,000 and make a start on the job? Just to indicate that I know it's a pain in the neck, but if you get in there and make a start on it.
We haven't got 150,000 in the budget for it.
Yes, but You just said before in caretaker mode that we were able to spend $150,000.
Yeah, but that's right, but we haven't got 150 allocated in the budget.
For you, so Mr Mayor, we have, as we've already indicated, provisions for this rehabilitation. So there is money set aside. There wouldn't be any budgetary impact. And that would allow us to then progress until we could provide another report to the new council.
There's got to be something done to make a start on it somehow.
Director of Engineering, when will the weed management plan be in place and acted on?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the weed management plan is now not needed because obviously our weed guys have been on site with the landowner and there's only dead weeds and there's no chance of germination for an extended period of time. So there is nothing to do there in regards to the weed management.
When was the actual plan to start the removal of the soil?
In regards to what council has, we've already obviously assessed for the weeds. We've already obtained quotes from contractors to the supply of the excavation equipment, trucks, and the transport of material. So that's already been obtained. Currently, we're just confirming the location for disposal of the material. That's what we're just determining the location. And part of that, we work it depends on weather. But obviously, we're just confirming the location stage where we're going to send the material to. I can only say through you, Mr Mayor, I think we gave him some advice that obviously, we're waiting for our minister to provide information. I think that may be adequate. I think there'll be some expectation of that. But what the motion is, we'll leave it at that.
Any further comments? Those in favour of the amendment? Those against, declare it carried. Comes the motion now. Those in favour of the motion? Those against, declare it carried. Any further matters?
Can I just mention a correction, Mr Mayor, of the date? On page 48 of 52, it talks about the annual performance review for the period of ending 30 June 2022. It should be 2024.
Yes, correct. Anything further?
And Mr Mayor, we just need a mover and seconder for the rest of part B.
Note all the B parts.
Or if you want to do B, C and D, but certainly for part B, we haven't actually got a mover and seconder for the rest of the reports.
Yeah. We've got to move it for part B, C, B. All in favour? Those against?
So sorry, who was the mover for the rest of part B? Mover and seconder? Sorry, I missed that. So we spoke about the
I thought it was Councillor Higgs. Councillor Lindenberg.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I missed it.
Now C and D.
Yeah, I'll move those.
Councillor Lindenberg. All in favour? Those against, declare it carried. Concludes tonight's meeting. It's our final meeting. I'd like to thank everybody for their input over the years. We haven't always agreed on things, but that's life in councils. And I wish everybody the best of luck. Those who are standing to get re-elected, good luck. Those who are retiring, all the best for the future.
Mr Mayor, just before we close, can I just pass on a positive comment? I've had a number of our ratepayers out in the Brocklesby, Burrumbuttock and Wurundjeri areas that have actually sought me out to thank and to pass on thanks for the conditions of the roads. They're excited to see that there's been graders on their dirt roads twice in a year, that even to the point that it was miraculous. But anyway, they are very, very happy with the condition of the road. So I just wanted to pass that on to council staff. Well done.
Thanks, councillor.
Can I just ask if everyone who has a council technology device, laptop, iPad, just to leave those here online?
You're more than welcome to it.
Yes, we're hoping that.
Let's hope that the technology improves.
I hope so too, council, for those people that are returning, that the technology improves.